Welcome back! If you are enjoying this content and it is helping you travel smarter, please hit the like and subscribe button so you never miss a video. Portugal consistently ranks among the most recommended destinations in Europe and has done so for several years running. The combination of extraordinary food, genuinely beautiful cities, dramatic Atlantic coastline, affordable prices relative to most of Western Europe, and a culture that feels both distinctly its own and deeply welcoming to visitors makes it close to a perfect travel destination for a wide range of travellers. This video covers the full country from Lisbon in the south to Porto in the north, with everything needed to plan and execute an excellent first trip. Most first-time visitors to Portugal start in Lisbon, and that instinct is correct. Lisbon is one of the great European capitals, a city of hills, trams, azulejo tile facades, and a melancholic musical tradition called fado that seems to emerge from the city's long Atlantic-facing history. The historic neighbourhoods of Alfama, Moraria, and Bairro Alto each have a distinct character and reward slow exploration on foot. Alfama, in particular, climbing from the waterfront up toward the Castelo de São Jorge, is one of the most atmospheric urban walks in Europe. The trams are iconic but also genuinely crowded. Tram 28, which cuts through Alfama, is one of the most heavily tourist-used tram lines in the world, and the experience of riding it varies considerably depending on the time of day. The food in Lisbon is one of the main events of any trip. Pastéis de nata are the famous custard tarts and are genuinely as good as their reputation suggests, particularly fresh from the oven at a traditional pastelaria. Bacalhau is salted dried cod and is the cornerstone of Portuguese cooking. There are said to be over 300 traditional recipes for it, and eating it prepared well in a traditional Lisbon restaurant is essential. Petiscos are the Portuguese equivalent of tapas, and sharing a spread of them with a glass of local wine is one of the great low-key pleasures of eating in the city. A day trip from Lisbon that is strongly recommended by experienced Portugal travellers is Sintra. Sintra sits in the hills about 40 minutes by train from Rossiu station in central Lisbon, and the landscape there is unlike anything else in the country. The Piscina Palace is a wildly colourful romanticist palace, perched on a rocky peak above the town, and looks from a distance like something out of a fairy tale. The Quinta da Rega Lyra is a Gothic manor house with an extraordinary garden, featuring secret tunnels and an initiation well that spirals down into the earth. Sintra gets extremely busy in summer, and going early in the morning is the consistent advice from everyone who has been there. From Lisbon, many travellers head south to the Algarve, which is Portugal's southern coastline and its most famous beach destination. The Algarve has some of the best beaches in Europe. Dramatic golden limestone formations, sea caves and clear Atlantic water, and a well-developed tourist infrastructure. The area around Gush and the SH Gresh Peninsula at the southwestern tip of the country are considered the most scenic and the most rewarding for travellers who want dramatic coastline over resort amenities. Algarve Feira is the most developed and most heavily visited part of the Algarve and has a package holiday energy that is not for everyone. A car is essentially necessary for exploring the Algarve properly. The best beaches and viewpoints require driving to them, and the public transport between coastal spots is limited. Porto, in the north, is the city that most travellers who visit say they wish they had given more time to. It is smaller than Lisbon, slightly rougher around the edges, and has a working city character that Lisbon has partly lost to tourism. The Ribaira waterfront along the Douro River, with the wine caves of Vila Nova de Gaia directly across the river, is one of the most beautiful urban riverscapes in Europe. Port wine, the fortified wine produced in the Douro Valley upstream and stored in the caves across the river, is an essential experience in Porto. Most of the major wine houses offer cellar tours and tastings, and the difference in quality between a good tawny or vintage port and the basic supermarket version is significant enough to make the tasting a genuine revelation. The Livre Ria Le Lu is one of the most beautiful bookshops in the world and is worth the small entry fee even for travellers who are not particular book buyers. The Claire Rie Gouche Tower offers the best elevated view over the city's terracotta rooftops to the river below. The Bomje Zouche staircase in nearby Braga is a baroque staircase climbing a wooded hillside to a church at the top and is one of the most distinctive architectural sites in the country. Between Lisbon and Porto, the Douro Valley deserves a mention for anyone travelling with more than a week. The valley is one of the oldest demarcated wine regions in the world, and the landscape of terraced vineyards climbing steeply from the river is genuinely breathtaking, particularly in autumn during harvest season. A river cruise along the Douro or a self-drive through the valley with stops at Quintas for tastings is one of the most rewarding ways to spend 2 or 3 days in Portugal, and is consistently described by experienced travellers as a highlight of the whole trip. On practicalities, Portugal runs on a moderate pace relative to most of Western Europe, and that pace is part of the appeal. Lunch is typically taken late, and dinner later still. Sitting down to eat at 7 in the evening is considered early by local standards. The coffee culture is strong, and the standard espresso, called a bica in Lisbon and a cimbalino in Porto, is outstanding and inexpensive. Public transport between cities is reliable. Trains connect Lisbon and Porto in under 3 hours, and regional buses cover most of the country. A car is recommended for exploring the Algarve coast, the Douro Valley, and the rural interior, but is unnecessary and actively inconvenient in central Lisbon or Porto. Portugal rewards travellers who slow down. The cities are walkable, the food is worth lingering over, the landscapes are worth stopping to actually look at. It is a country that has been welcoming visitors from across the world for centuries, and that long practice at hospitality shows in almost every interaction. It is very easy to understand why it keeps appearing at the top of every Best of Europe list. Go and see for yourself.